Hello good people, welcome to Raw Vegan Rising. My name is Shane Sterling. In this video I wanted to answer a question coming in from one of my viewers. It's a really important question for beginners on the raw vegan diet, so let's get started. So this is a question from a viewer named Exalted Syrian. I have a question. I have been getting some bloating since going raw. Did you experience this in the beginning? How long will it last? Is there something I'm doing wrong? I hear food combos may be a bad idea. Today I mixed berries with kiwi, with mango, with hemp seeds, chia seeds, and coconut milk in a bowl with raw almond butter. I think I may have overdone it as I was having some digestion issues and severely bloated. I start my day with water followed by green juice. How long should I wait until eating an actual meal after my green juice? Would you mind making a video for a newbie raw vegan? I'd highly appreciate any tips. Thank you so much. So I'm making the video to answer this question because many raw vegans have this question in the beginning. I know I did. I know I struggled with this, and it's taken me quite a long time to get to the other side of this, so I thought I would address it. It's really important. So the first one I think is really important to understand is cleaning the GI tract, because we have a very long colon, 30 feet. Well, our entire digestive system is 30 feet long. That's a lot of twists and turns for items to get stuck in there, fecal matter. In fact, someone was just telling me yesterday that she heard a story from a friend of hers that she went and had a colonic, and a little figurine came out that she had swallowed when she was a child. It had been in there for like 30 years. And this little doll figurine thing came out after a colonic, because there's so many nooks and crannies and places for things to hide in there. That's why we need to eat foods that move through our digestive system very quickly, unlike meat and dairy and grains and starches, which are very slow digesting. But even if we're eating a raw vegan diet, high in fiber and high in water, all of the years, like 30 years, just like that little figurine being stuck in there, all of our previous lifetime and previous lifestyle and diet can have affected how impacted our colon is, how impacted our small intestine, large intestine, and colon are, so that we could have impacted fecal matter and things backed up and things not flowing. And then we start on a raw vegan diet and we're eating all this fiber and water, but it might not be flushing through properly, which can cause severe bloating and gas problems in the beginning. I think it's imperative that raw vegans do a juice cleanse to clean out the GI tract. It just speeds up the process. If you're going to eat raw food, it's going to clean out eventually, but it could take 3 years. It could take 5 years to do what, a 30, 60, 90-day juice fast could do. So juice fasting is a really important tool we have in our tool belts to help kickstart the cleaning process, flush things out. I know when I did my juice fast, I did 40 days, and I was dedicated to getting as much waste matter out of my digestive system as possible. I had many pounds of mucoid plaque come out. It was a very distinct black rubbery substance that smelled extremely foul, a very distinctly different smell than anything else, not like normal fecal matter. This is stuff that had been lodged in there for a long time, or just in a different place. Like, I think the small intestines, where you don't smell that. We smell what comes out of our colons, but we don't smell what's up in our small intestines, So I must have released, I estimated I lost about 40 pounds in 40 days, and not all of that was body fat. It was impossible to lose 40 pounds of body fat in 40 days. We can really only lose about a pound a week of body fat maximum. So on a 40-day juice fast, I only probably lost 5 or 6 pounds of body fat, but I lost 40 pounds total in 40 days. So what is that? That's 35 pounds of waste matter that came out of my intestines. Now that would have been backed up in there when I was trying to eat my fruits and vegetables, getting all hung up, causing bloating and gas. So when I went back to raw food, it just made it so much easier. Back to solid food after my juice fast, it just made it so much easier for my digestive system to work properly and not get bloating and gas. With that said, that leads me into my number 2 point, which is it takes time for the bacteria to adjust to the high fiber. Even when I went back to a fiber-based diet after my juice fast, I still had bloating and I still had digestive issues because my bacteria was not ready for all that fiber. So I was eating big salads at the end of the night, big bowl of salad, and I would have extreme discomfort after eating my salads. And I knew that it was just the fact that my gut bacteria wasn't adjusted to it yet, and I'd have like all this discomfort, but I just pushed through because I knew the more I fed my gut bacteria that fiber, the better off I would be. And sure enough, over time, I started to be able to eat big salads with absolutely no digestive issues at all. So now at this point in my life, I am completely adjusted to the high fiber diet, and not only does it feel amazing, but it's the entire immune system. So my microbiome feels amazing and my immune system is amazing. It's February right now and it's cold where I live and my family's been sick. My daughters have been under the weather coming home from school with stuff. My wife came down with it. I didn't come down with anything. And I really attribute that to my high water, high fiber diet. It's just moving everything through. And my number 3 point, avoid mixing fats and fruits. As she said in this video, in this question from my viewer here, that it's the fats and the fruits combined. She mixed almond butter, chia seeds, hemp seeds, and coconut milk, along with berries, mangoes, and kiwis. So that's going to do it right there. I have learned on a raw vegan diet now for over a year that I cannot mix fats and fruits like that at all. I get horrible digestive problems and bloating and gas. And the reason is because fruits and fats have different digestive times. Fruits go through quick, fats go through slow. And if we eat fats with the fruit, it slows down how the fruit is moving through, and the fruit, being simple sugars, will ferment. And the fermentation creates gas, which creates the distended gut and the bloating and the discomfort. So it's really important to allow all the fast-moving stuff to go through first, and then the slow-moving stuff to go through afterwards. So the ideal day for a raw vegan, in my opinion, and this is what I do and what I've learned, is that I do my fruits and my carbohydrates all throughout the day. So I don't have any fats, really. I don't have any overt fats, whole overt fats, until later in the day. And I usually will wait for the very, very last thing I put in my mouth to have things like nuts. Soaked almonds, soaked sunflower seeds, or just a handful of Brazil nuts or macadamias or something. I will wait for the very last thing, like my last meal of the day. Prior to that, I'll have salad with, maybe some seeds on it, avocado, some olive oil, right? And prior to that, I'll only have fruits and vegetables. And I start my day usually with smoothies and things that are blended. Now I will say that I do add flaxseed and chia seed to my smoothies in the morning, first thing, but I usually do very, very small amounts. And I do it basically to have some essential fatty acids in my system for the day, but not enough to interfere with the digestion of the fruits. And also blending breaks down all the fiber in the fruits, the vegetables, the greens, and the fats. So if I'm mixing flaxseed and kale or spinach or something with bananas and dates, all that fiber gets broken down and it's much more easy for the body to digest. It does not create any discomfort, any gas or bloating for me, in my experience. But if I'm going to eat solid whole foods like fruit, monomeals, or salads, I will specifically time it so that it gets progressively slower through the day. So fruits, greens, and fats in that order, from fastest to slowest. And it makes a huge difference for me. And with that said, it leads me to my next tip, which is take digestive enzymes, especially when we're transitioning and we're trying to get our gut bacteria established and we're still trying to clean out the GI tract, which I probably am too on only a year and a half on a raw vegan diet. Like, it might take multiple years, it might take 3-5 years, for the entire digestive system to be come completely clean. And so digestive enzymes help break up waste matter and proteins, you know, that are in the GI tract. And I actually love pineapple for that reason, high in bromelain. And I eat a pineapple every day. Specifically, is wonderful after workouts, helps with muscle recovery, and the digestive enzymes in there are helpful for digesting the food you're eating. If you're working out at the gym, you're eating more food to keep your calories up. So it just helps with breaking everything down, and it's also anti-inflammatory. So if you're working out and you've worked your muscles, and then you take the pineapple, it's like soothing. It's really soothing. So helping everything move through the body is key. So digestive enzymes are a big part of that, and supplementing with digestive enzymes is great. I do it. I love it. I try to do whole food enzymes like pineapple. That's my #1 favorite thing. But I will also take digestive enzymes, and I love the Paradigm by Lou Corona. Shout out to Paradigm's awesome enzymes, amazing. I was turned on to those, of course, by Dan McDonald, who showcases those and talks about them, and I tried them and they're fantastic. So #5 is pay attention to bowel transit time when food combining. I already mentioned this. This is critical though. Paying attention to the timing of foods throughout the day can almost virtually eliminate all bloating and discomfort and gas, but it takes time to get the hang of it because we're used to just, as a cooked food eater, being able to eat everything we want, mixing fiber and fats and sugars together. But on raw food, you can't do that because, you know, our body is processing the whole food, the whole fiber, everything's whole and raw and intact, and it's a game changer. Completely different game changer. Now you might think that's restrictive, but my goodness, what's really restrictive is eating a SAD diet, being, having our consciousness lowered and being deficient in biophotons and being cut off from like our divine source and struggling and believing in lack and poverty and struggle and all of the problems that our society faces from eating a cooked food diet. Not realizing the power of the raw living foods to like wake us up and transform our mind. So within the limitation of a raw vegan diet is our freedom. It's not limitation, it's just natural law. We have to align and right ourselves with natural law to get the benefits that God intended for us to get. So it's really about simplicity, not restriction, and it is ultimate freedom. Having too much choice, like a standard American diet, that is prison. That's hell. And you can see it when you look out in our society around you. You can see the disease and the degeneration and the sickness and the mental illness going on. That is what the freedom of a standard American diet gives us. So #6 on my list, the last one I wanted to mention was FODMAP. FODMAP stands for fermentable oligodimonosaccharides and polyols. A mouthful, I know. But basically, FODMAP is referring to the non-digestible fiber in foods, which ferments basically in the lower intestines. The non-digestible fiber makes it all the way down to the colon, and then the bacteria in the colon feed on the fiber, which is basically these sugar carbohydrates, and it creates hydrogen instead of methane. Normal bacteria in the gut creating gas is going to create methane, but the gas that creates the bloating and the distended gut and the discomfort is hydrogen, which is coming from the higher FODMAP foods. So generally the FODMAP foods are used for people with irritable bowel syndrome, which comes from eating a standard American diet. The raw vegans don't have to pay as much attention to that type of thing once you get your gut up and running and get the gut bacteria well established and everything is flowing smooth and you're doing good food combining. But it is something to pay attention to in the beginning, like for instance, a high FODMAP food, which has this non-digestible fiber that makes gas, is dates. So if you're gonna eat a ton of dates, and I've noticed this in my journey, if you eat a ton of dates, you're probably gonna get more gassy than if you eat a ton of bananas instead, because bananas are low FODMAP, right? So you can look up the list of high and low FODMAP foods for yourself on Google. Just keep in mind that it's generally geared toward people with coming off a standard American diet with irritable bowel syndrome, so they recommend a lot of like milk and meat and stuff. Of course, we know as raw vegans that that stuff is basically poison for our health and is not going to keep us flowing, not going to keep the digestive system working. There's no fiber in milk and meat, and it's highly acidic, creates disease in the body, creates waste. We can't even digest the proteins in meat and milk, and those proteins are what get left over and non-digested and impacted and have residues in the colon and the intestinal tract. So from a lifetime of eating meat and milk and grains, we have so much waste matter that is undigested in our body, and that's what causes disease. That's what causes cancer. That highly acidic food that never leaves the colon is what directly creates colon cancer. So we got to get that stuff out, we got to get it moving, and we got to flush it with the high fiber foods and the high water foods. So in my opinion, eliminating meat and milk completely is the best for health, and eating the highest fiber foods possible and getting that gut bacteria up and digesting properly is the best way to health. So that's my message. That's my answer to your question, Exalted Syrian. I hope that helps you. Thank you so much for being on this video with me. I appreciate it very much. Please subscribe to my channel so I can help other people with this message and how to transition to a raw vegan diet. Please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you have cured bloating and gas and digestion on your raw vegan journey. And I will see you in the next one.